Hello everyone, I am Christine Vista and I am tasked to discuss a 10 topic out of those 18 topic na gipost sa GCR. So, I already choose 10 topics and I'll be discussing those 10 topics. So, let's start. So, the first topic I'll be discussing is the 5 health belief model. So, the first one is the perceived susceptibility. It refers to an individual's subjective assessment of the risk of developing particular health problem. Individuals who perceive a higher risk of developing a health problem are more likely to engage behavior to reduce their risk. Say for example, ako, kabalo ko na akong surrounding ug ang among balay is prone siya sa kanang dengue nga mga sakit tungod sa daghan nga mga tubig na napundo nga nadugay na nawala na kuan. So ako mag-initiate ko tungod kay kabalo ko na prone sa dengue ang among place, mag-initiate ko nga manglimpyo ug hinduon tong mga napundo nga tubig para dili siya puy-an og dengue. So it more likely to engage behavior to reduce the risk para ma-reduce ang risk na possible nga katong mga tubig na napundo nagdugay is mapuy-an siya og dengue og syempre delikado sa health. So ako ga-initiate ko nga limpyhon to. So muna siya ang ipasabot sa number 1, which is the perceived susceptibility. So next is perceived severity. It's number 2. It refers to an individual's assessment of the seriousness of health problem and its potential consequences. The HBM proposes the individuals to perceive a given health problem as a serious, more likely to engage in a behavior to prevent it or reduces its severity. Like say for example, akong lolo, high blood na siya daan. So nakabalo siya na kining hypertension is makalid siya sa stroke. So sayang kaugalingon is dili siya gusto na kaning iyahang high blood is mapadulong siya sa stroke. So ga-initiate siya nga kaning kanang likayan to niyang mga pagkaon na makapalala sa kaning hypertension, like kanang mga high in sodium na mga pagkaon. Yan ang likayan para ang kanang iyang hypertension dili makalid to stroke. So meron siya ang ginamin sa perceived severity. So next is perceived benefits. It refers to an individual's belief in the effectiveness of taking an action to reduce the risk of seriousness of health problem. Individuals more likely to engage in health promoting behaviors and they believe those behavior will be effective. Like say for example, ako gusto ko mag-exercise kay kining exercise lessen sa stress and can also prevent sa mga diseases na mo abot sa imuha. So ako, syempre mag-exercise ko para ma-lessen akong stress sa kinabuhi and ma-prevent ang katong mga sakit na. So next is the perceived barriers. This refers to an individual perception of obstacles or costs associated with taking action to reduce the risk of seriousness of the health problem. Like say for example, ako na ako'y sakit tungod sa kawadon or lack of financial. So dili ko gaadto og hospital kay tungod kay pag moadto ko makabayad man ko. Wa mo ko pambayad. So I choose to not to go to the hospital. So mani siya ang gipasabot sa perceived barriers. Like yung mga barriers na na mga barriers para dili nimo associated with taking action due to risk of seriousness of your health problem. Basta na siya mga barriers para dili nimo ma-reduce ang risk or seriousness of the health problem. So, man siya. These obstacles can be practical, psychological, or social. So, next is cues to action. Cues to action are triggers to prompt individual to take action regarding to their health. These cues can be internal, such as personal experiences, or external, such as advice from healthcare providers or media campaign. So, this only means na kanang, say for example, ako kuan ko healthcare workers. So, gapilit ko og poster sa mga kilid-kilid para makita siya sa mga tao. Like, say for example, libre na vaccines, libre na check-up, libre na tambal sa kanilang mga sakit. So, ang tao na makakita ato is kining maengganyo sila kay libre na. So, i-grab nila ito nga opportunity para i-grab nila ang opportunity na makalibre silang access sa check-up, sa vaccines, or sa medicines na ilahang kinahanglan. So, makatrigger siya sa individual to take an action regarding to their health. So, diba? Mas maengganyo sila na maduog hospital tungod kay naay ingani ng mga libre na vaccines, medicines, or check-ups. So, muna siya ang atong topic 1. The 5 self-belief model. So, moving on to the topic number 2, the 5 components of human rights. So, let's go. The first one is the universality. It is the human rights applied to everyone, everywhere, and without exception as affirmed by Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, from the definition itself, it says na ang human rights of course apply siya sa everyone, maski dato ka man upobre, tanang tao na ay rights without exception, and this is affirmed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So next is the inalienability. So human rights cannot be taken away or surrendered under the special circumstances like criminal or behavior or emergencies. This means na ang human rights, of course, dili na pwede kuhaon sa atoa. Kita ng tao na ay rights. Kita tanan na ay rights. Dili siya pwede kuhaon sa atoa. Dili excuse ang emergencies o mga criminal behavior para makuha na siya sa ato. Kita ng tao na ay rights. As what I have said earlier. So next is the indivisibility. All humans are equally important, interdependent, meaning they must all be respected and protected. So masabta naman siya ang definition, no? So next is the equal and non-discrimination. Everyone is entitled to the same rights with no discrimination based on race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or characteristic. Kay sa atong generation karon, kakadaghan jud ang mga discrimination, especially sa mga gender. So, i-avoid na to siya kay everyone entitled to the same rights with no discrimination based on their gender, ethnicity, religion, or characteristic. So, the last one is the accountability. Government and entitles must uphold human rights and can be held accountable for violation, with individuals having the right to seek redress. So, this means na ang gobyerno sila ang responsible para i-treat ang mga tao equally. And they can be held accountable for violations. And then, with individuals having the right to seek redress. So next is the precede proceed model, which is the third topic I'll be discussing. So let's go! So the precede proceed model is a comprehensive health program planning framework enabling construct and educational diagnosis and evaluation. Diagnosis can be causes of health problems through social, epidemiological, educational, and administrative assessment. Proceed is the policy, regulatory, and organizational construction and educational environmental development. It implements and evaluates intervention focusing on the process, impact, and outcome of evaluation. So next topic I'll be discussing is the 5 occupational health hazards in the hospital. First is the biological hazards. Healthcare workers is risk for exposure to infectious diseases from the patients and materials. Strict infection control protocols, hand hygiene, PPE used, and proper waste disposal are essential. So we all know na ang mga healthcare workers is exposed sila permi sa mga nagkalain-lain na sakit sa mga pasyente. So of course, in order to prevent this kind of hazard, we should wear appropriate PPE, hand hygiene, and proper waste disposal. So next, number 2. So next is the musculoskeletal and injuries. Tasks like lifting patient can cause strains and sprain. Proper techniques, ergonomic tools, and physical activity helps prevent injuries. So, ang mga healthcare worker is prone po sila sa mga injuries. Like, for example, para sa alsa sila og mga patient na mga bedridden. So, naman gina sila kung ano katindog. So, pag silahan ng alsahon or sanan ng mga kuan, it can cause injuries sa ilaha. So, dapat yun kablo sila sa proper techniques o physical activity help prevent injury. So, dapat mag-engage sila og physical activity para in order to prevent the musculoskeletal injuries. So, next is the workplace violence. So, hospital workers face verbal, physical violence from stressed or confused patient. Prevention requires training, security, and reporting system. So, ang ginamit aning number 3 is, diba, we all know na pag ang mga patient na naisakit, irritable yun na sila. So, kaning workplace violence. So, di jud malikayan no ang mga healthcare worker is makasalamuha gyud na sila og mga patient na ingon pa kanang dili kayo mahayong batasan, like mamisikal or maka-storya og sakit sa atoa. So next is the exposure to hazardous chemicals. Cleaning and disinfection chemicals cause health issues and if mishandled. Ventilation, PPE, and safety to minimize the risk. So, ang mga healthcare worker is naga-use na sila og mga chemicals for cleaning, for disinfecting sa mga nagagamit na mga materials, for example sa operation. So gagamit yun sila chemical para ma-disinfect ang gatong mga nagamit na mga materials. So di jud na malikayan ang kanang mga ingana if ma-mishandle siya. So dapat in order to minimize the risk, dapat magsuot jud og appropriate PPE and ventilation for that incident. So next is stress. Of course, stress. Long hours and emotional strain lead to stress. Employee support programs help maintain well-being. So mo to siya ang mga 5 health hazards in the hospital. So next is the topic number 5, which is that 10 things to ensure safety in the hospital. So first is infection control. We should maintain proper hygiene, of course, with proper hand washing, PPE used, and strict cleaning protocols. Second is the medication safety. Double check patient ID, verify orders, and educate patient to avoid errors. Like pag maghatag taog kanayong tambal, of course, you should double check the patient using two identifiers, which is ilahang birth date ug sa ilahang name, sa ilang wristband, i-double check nato, i-verify ang order, and lastly, educate nato ang patient to avoid errors. So next is the fall prevention. Minimize fall risk with assistive devices, proper lighting, and mobility assessment. So mo to para ma-minimize nato ang fall risk, we should have assistive devices, proper lighting, and mobility assessment. So next is the access control. Secure facilities with visitors management systems and staff key cards. So fifth is the surveillance. Place cameras strategically to determine threats and aid investigation. Like say for example, nagka-problema sa hospital. So we should have a CCTV camera para matanaw nato ang mga unsay mga nahitabo jud natin nuod kay pwede na siya ikuan. Auto. So we should have a CCTV camera. So next is the violence prevention. Train staff and de-escalation enforce security measures and establish reporting system. Next is the patient ID. Ensure wristband to verbal confirmation to prevent errors. So dapat jud nato gina-check ang mga names sa mga patients sa ilang wristband and verbal confirmation, like ato sila i-ask kung unsa ilang name, then ato din i-verify sa ilang wristband if nag-coincide ba ang katong name na ilang verbalize to prevent error, of course. Then number 8 is the communication. Foster clear teamwork through standardized handoff training. So of course, dapat na teamwork sa sulod sa healthcare. So next is the safety audit. Regularly review hazard and safety practices to improve protocols. And lastly, the patient education. Inform the patient about the care and medication. Encourage active participation. So ang di dapat nato kalimtan na buhaton is educate nato ang patient about sa care, sa medication, kung unsa siyang what time siya i-take, ang mga side effects, nga na din encourage nato sila sa active participation. So mo to siya ang mga things to ensure safety in the hospital. So next topic is the 3 levels of prevention. So primary prevention focuses on preventing the onset disease of injury before it occurs. This level of prevention aims to reduce the incidence of disease by eliminating risk of increasing the resistance. So kining primary prevention naga-focus siya sa pag-prevent sa mga onset na disease. So atong ang for example ani is kanang mga vaccination to prevent ng mga disease na sulod sa ato pa. So dapat magpa-vaccine ta. Og another example is healthy lifestyle promotion. Like at silang educate kung unsay mga healthy foods, healthy lifestyle, yan. So mana siya ang ginamin sa primary prevention. So next is the secondary prevention. Focuses on early detection and intervention to halt the progression of disease at the early stage. The aim is to identify the treated disease or its precursor before significant symptoms develop. So Example ani no is kanang cancer screening. So dapat irregular mammograms, colonoscopies, and the pap smears allow the early cancer detection. So i-screen nato siya para ma-detect nato ang cancer and enabling prompt treatment to improve outcome. Then pag na-detect na nato siya, to din siyang i-treat para di na siya mo worse and worse and worse. So next example is the blood pressure monitoring. Regularly checks and identify hypertension early, allowing for lifestyle changes and medication to prevent heart disease or stroke. Like, atong kibali, ang isa ka tao na siya hypertension. So, atong irregular, i-monitor na to iyahang blood pressure para di siya ma-lead to stroke. So, next is the tertiary prevention. Focuses on reducing the impact of an already established disease by restoring function and reducing disease-related complications. This level of prevention aims to manage the rehabilitate patient to improve their quality of life. So, example of this tertiary prevention is rehabilitation programs. Physical and occupational therapy help patients to regain function and mobility after stroke or serious health events. Second example is chronic disease management. Ongoing education and support for chronic conditions like diabetes and asthma help patients to manage their health and prevent complications. So, moto siya ang 3 levels of prevention. So, next is the topic number 7, which is the function of public nurse in the community. First, we will be talking about the community health assessment. Public health nurses assess community health needs by gathering data, behaviors, risk factor, and health access to identify areas for intervention. So first, of course, we will conduct assessment atong mga patient for us to know kung unsay mga sa atong data na mag-gather makabaluta sa ilang behavior, unsay mga risk factor nila, and healthcare access to identify kung asa tama nga area maghatag og intervention. So next is the health education and promotion. They develop and implement educational program on disease prevention and healthy lifestyle using community events, schools, and counseling session. So isa pud sa mga responsibility natin sa mga nurse is to health education. So they develop implementation of educational program on disease prevention, the specific disease, and healthy lifestyle, of course, and using community events like school, counseling session. Next is disease prevention and control. Public health nurses prevent infectious disease through surveillance, outbreak investigation, vaccination programs, and public education for prevention strategies. So, isa pud ka responsibility sa mga nurse is kining disease prevention and control, of course. They conduct vaccination programs and public education and prevention strategies. So, fourth is advocacy and policy development. They advocate for health promoting policies and collaborate with stakeholders to address disparities to improve healthcare access. So, of course, as a nurse, we advocate for health promoting policies and collaborate with stakeholders to address health disparities and improve healthcare access. Next is the collaboration and partnership. Public health nurses work as a healthcare professional, community organization, and government agency to create, implement, an effective health program. Of course, we need collaboration para mas ma-improve na to ang quality of health na atong mahatag sa ato ang mga patient. So, next, sa topic number 8 na to, which is the Article 25, Section 1 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, Article number 25, Section 1 of UDHR guarantees everyone have the right and standard of living adequate for health and well-being, including the food, clothing, house, medical care, and social services. It also ensures the security in case of unemployment, sickness, disability, or old age. This signifies a right to a dignified life free from poverty and emphasizes the collective responsibility of governments and of societies to provide essential resources and social safety nets. So this article simply says that everyone has the right to standard of living for adequate health and well-being, including food, clothing, housing, medical care, and social services. So, say for example, adunay isa ka pamilya nga naglisod og kaon tungod kay walay trabaho ang amahan. So, this article says na responsibilidad sa gobyerno na maghatag og tabang sa kini nga pamilya. It's either food or financial. So, muna siya ang gin-state sa Article 25, Section 1. Another example pud ani is kanang mga pension sa mga tigulang o libreng tambal gikan sa gobyerno aron padayon siya og maayong panglawas og dili mag-antos. So, moving on to the topic number 9, which is the Article 23 of Occupational Health and Safety under Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, kini siya na article is ang iyahang ginamin, just like for example, na isa ka construction worker nga nagtrabaho sa mga tagas na building. So, kinahanglan na siya safety harness or helmet aron malikayan ang mga disgrasya. So, another example is kung adunay empleyado nga nagkasakit tungod sa toxic na chemical nga ihang ginagamit sa iyahang trabaho. So, responsibilidad sa mga employer nga siguruhon nga adunay maayong ventilation o protective gear ang mga empleyado aron dili maapektuhan ang ilahang lawas. So, muna siya ang ginamin sa Article 20 of Occupational Health and Safety under Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, let's proceed to the topic number 10, which is the 5 negative and positive factors affecting the health status of the community. So, first one is the economic stability. So, ayahang negative factors is the poverty leads to poor health due to lack of resources. So, understandable man no, mostly gyud sa mga pobre dili sila maka-access og sa mga healthcare tungod sa pobrehon o lack of financial. So, economic stability, ang iyang positive is economic opportunity empowers individuals and improve health choices. So, number 2 is education. Ang negative factor niya is limited education hinders to development and leads to poor health. So, ang positive side po niya is quality education promote health literacy and better health outcomes. Third is a social and community life. Negative is social isolation negatively impact mental and physical health. Ang iyang positive factors is strong social support, foster resilience, and empowers well-being. So, fourth is a neighborhood and environment. Yung negative factor is environmental hazard contribute to the health problems, especially in marginalized community. Positive factor is safe and healthy environment, promote physical activity and well-being. Fifth is healthcare access. Negative limited access to quality healthcare hinders prevention and treatment leading to the poor health. Iyang positive sides is iyang positive factors is quality healthcare promotes early detection and empowers individual to manage their health. So, thank you everyone for watching. That ends my discussion. Thank you.